Hello everybody, thank you for joining me. I raised the question today, what horror is stalking on Manchester Parkland? Today's report centres around a dark figure that's been seen at least twice in Walton Park, and that figure was described by one witness as a silhouette of a large figure that just stood there looking at us. Which raises the question, is a large hulking figure haunting one of Sale's most visited parks? Walton Park is situated in a pleasant residential area of Sale. It comprises grassed areas, flower beds, shrubs, mature trees, pathways, car parks, amenities. There's parks like this all across the country. It's around 12.5 acres in diameter. And since 2017, there have been 2 sightings of a strange figure by locals, and a strange footprint was found and photographed just a short walk away. This week I was contacted via YouTube by a gent called Nick, who had a very strange experience when he was a teen in Walton Park. Nick shared his experience and he stated, "I saw something on Walton Park when I was a teenager. It was maybe 9 or 10 p.m. It was dark. We were on the swings when we all felt like we were being watched. One of my friends looked around and thought that he could see someone crouched down over by the bowling green. We all decided to leave quickly. It was that eerie. When we reached the gate that leads onto Walton Road, we climbed over, and when we glanced back, we could see the silhouette of a large figure stood looking at us from the end of the entrance. We spent most evenings on the park back then, and that was the only weird encounter that we ever had there." Now, strangely, this report is not the only one from this very small park. With the canal and the River Mersey running alongside the park, the cemetery's but a few steps away. This little idyll seems like an ideal place to spend your leisure time. But as I said, 2 local witnesses have come forward and shared their experiences for the first time in decades. Is there a connection between the creature that the boys saw that night and a creature seen by a dog walker in the same park a number of years ago? That witness reached out to me in 2019 and she shared this with me, and she said, "Years ago now, I had a dog and I got up early in the morning and I'd walk it before work, normally about 6 a.m. This particular morning wasn't unusual. I'd walked to Walton Park in Sale, close to the M33, which is not far from my house. It was just getting light and there was a light dusting of snow on the ground. So even though everything was silhouetted, the thing I saw stood out against the white background. I'd walked through the main entrance, and after a few seconds of looking forward straight ahead, I noticed what seemed to be this 8-foot figure. It was standing on 2 legs. It was slightly bent forward in its upper body, and it started to casually walk across the bowling green. It took 2 big paces and didn't seem to be in any rush. It walked diagonally away from where I was standing, and it seemed to be just going about its business. I kept watching it until my view of it was obstructed by the trees. At that moment, one of the usual dog walkers I see often entered the park and caught up to me. I turned around and I wanted to ask, "Did you see that? Do you know what that was? Who it was? What it was?" But for some reason I didn't. I just kept it to myself and stayed silent. It was about 30 feet away from me when it walked straight past me. We did the usual walk around and I gave the dogs a run, by which point it became light mostly and I saw nothing else. The dogs didn't seem worried. I never felt scared or threatened, but I think I probably should have done. This thing was huge. It appeared to be all black in colour, and it walked a bit bent over, sort of slouched really, and it had these long, almost human arms. The way it looked is what convinced me it wasn't normal. This is a really quiet, chilled area which backs onto the canal. I never saw it again, but I thought you might want to know about it. We don't have rough sleepers or people in the park overnight. I just thought, yeah, it's weird, but it's okay. And I just went about my day. I tried to research what it might have been more recently due to my interest in, chaos magic. I was reading a lot about Galactic Demons and the Ars Goetia, also known as the 72 Pillars. And they're a group comprised of 72 noble demons with exemplary strength. And I wondered if it might have been something like that I was seeing. But I didn't know about those demons at the time of the event. I wasn't thinking about them. However, I then came across your work, which grounded me back into reality. I'm from the British Isles. This is my roots. Our connection to the land and ancestors of this place is important. Also, I was surprised that what I saw wasn't a one-off and that there are actually other people out there that have seen things like this. Upon reflection, it felt more of a natural occupation rather than something demonically conjured. I do wonder if some of the sightings here are some kind of tulpa, though. Another funny thing I noticed was that the park has thick rhododendron bushes, which the dog used to go crazy about if you ever got behind them. One thing I know is that rhododendron bushes feature in many of the strange reports that I've taken over the years. I've done a lot of investigation and research into rhododendrons, believe it or not. My own horrifying experience happened in a Manchester park, almost exactly the same as Walton, when I was using the roadies to hide that day. The plant itself produces some of the most hallucinogenic natural highs known to man. It is well sought after and is named mad honey for that reason, and it can still be bought to this day. It is used across the world in spiritual offerings, rituals, medicines. It's very important. In Nepal, the rhododendron is used to make a popular alcoholic beverage called rakshi. In Tibet and Buddhism, the rhododendron is considered a sacred plant and is often used in offerings. The plant is used for spiritual transformation. It is used to allow a spirit to enter other worlds or realms, or so our spirit can change its shape. One other report that comes from across the canal in another area of Parkland sparked curiosity in locals when a man walking his dog came across something very strange that he photographed. The father was baffled to find a mammoth footprint complete with giant claw marks while out on a dog walk. On the 3rd of February 2017, Jim Salverson from Charlton, Greater Manchester, was walking through Kenworthy Woods with his dog Ruby when he came across an enormous impression in the mud. Confused by what he'd found, Jim, the dad of one, snapped a photograph of it. He's a freelance radio presenter and he said, "I've not seen anything like it before or since. It's obviously very elusive, whatever's left it. I've got size 10 feet, and with my working boots on, the footprint was still bigger than before. It's so muddy up there at the moment, and there are footprints left all over the place. It's clearly a bear footprint, which is weird in itself, with what appears to be claws. It's winter." The wood the print was found in is popular with dog walkers, cyclists, and features on the Transpennine Trail. Jim regularly walks Ruby through the woodland, which runs next to the M60, and he said, "I didn't take it seriously. But on one occasion when I walk through those woods, Ruby will start randomly barking at open spaces, so you never know what could be in there." I wonder how many other folk have had an experience at this park or in an area close by and just haven't said anything. I'd love to hear from you if you have. I am sure our two witnesses will appreciate the fact that others have also seen it. So it would seem that I am not the only Manchester lass to have seen a strange figure in a park. And the rest is history, as they say. Good night, everyone.